So today we're gonna work on creating a Java application that connects to an online instance of Microsoft's Azure's SQL database. We're gonna do this step by step, so that includes setting up the environment, make sure everything's connected properly, and then just writing a little bit of code and making sure everything we can read, write, and get data out of a database. All right, so while doing this for myself, I've noticed that while Microsoft does have a lot of tutorials and write-ups, many of them are out of date, and you can get very confused because it's not consistent, and just information seems to be kind of all over the place, even if you're searching through the website. So hopefully this will allow you to have a good roadmap, even if you're watching this in the future and some of the dependencies have changed and everything's been updated, so that when you go to do this yourself, you'll at least know where to look, what to look out for, and you'll be able to troubleshoot a lot faster than trying to dig through all of their documents. Anyway, when you're getting started with any Microsoft Azure connection, you're likely going to be better off going to their GitHub. Their website, it's just not very good. It's not up to date. Their GitHub is going to be your best bet when it comes to getting up-to-date information from Microsoft. As I stated, I am connecting from a Java application. Just looking online, I already know that I need something called a JDBC driver. Well, this is just drivers or files that allows you to connect to a database, and so that you're able to use the java.sql package, or the language of Java, so that you can make the connection. You don't have to jerry-rig a bunch of nonsense together. When connecting to your SQL instance, you need to remember a few things. MySQL, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, and SQL are are different types of SQL databases, right? As a result, you're going to need different types of JDBC drivers to connect to those instances. So if you want to use a MySQL Azure instance, you can, but you're going to need to make sure you get the JDBC driver to connect to it. And I think MySQL JDBC, I think it's called the connector. So same thing, if you type in Postgres JDBC, you'll see that they have their own driver. So those are the drivers that you're going to want to use as we move forward. But this is just getting us up and running with the main things, right? So when you're on their GitHub page, as you scroll down, you can see they have their own getting started page. You click on this, it's going to take you here. As you can see, we got C#, Node.js, PHP, Go, all this other stuff. I'm on Java, so that's the one I'm using. So this will help you get set up. Step 1 is installing an SQL server. Since we're going to be connecting to an online instance that we're going to spin up later, we don't have to do this. This is just if you want to run a server locally on your machine and connect to that. But I've always found that local connections, while interesting, are problematic because it doesn't really give you any real experience connecting to something else like you would be if you were in another job, or even just coding your own apps. You're going to have to know how to connect to somebody else's server somewhere, or connecting to your own if you build your own server, right? It's important to know how to do that. So I don't do local host. So we're going to move on to installing the Java JDK. This is for those of you who do not have it. If you do have it installed, you don't need to do anything. You can feel free to jump ahead. But I'm just going to go through this install. So we have the Java JDK. For a lot of these things, you're going to click on it and you're going to go to their page and you're going to be like, okay, Java SE Development Kit 8. Problem, like I said, is a lot of these things are out of date. This one in particular is out of date. And when you're trying to connect out of date JDKs, APIs, or whatever to other types of APIs, JDKs with different versions, it may not always work and you're going to get some errors. So when you're creating your own application, do your best to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date version of whatever software you're using. But that means you're going to have to do a little bit of extra work to make sure that everything connects a little bit. Everything is able to connect to each other. So in this case, when we go to Java SE, we're going to look at it. We're going to be like, oh my God, we went from 8 to 11 to 15. So I'm going to down the 15 version. Downloaded. When you download this JDK, you're going to get a zip file that you're going to have to extract and put it somewhere. Here I have my local disk. I have my program files, 2 program file folders. This one is for your 64-bit architecture, because I have a 64-bit machine. Most machines you're going to have are going to be 64-bit at this point, but being Windows, it can also run 32-bit, the old architecture they used to have. And you have some software that is 32-bit. That's what this x86 means. If you have 64-bit software, you can go ahead and put it here. I don't think it really matters. I haven't really seen anything where it did matter. But try to keep your 64-bit architecture here, and anything else or stuff you don't know in here. Anyway, I downloaded the 64-bit version, so this is where I put it. I put it here. I put in Java, I put the JDK 15.02 right here. Okay. After you do that, you're going to want to reset what they call your system environment variable. So you're going to type in environment variable. Once you do that, you're going to get this. We're going to open it up. We're going to go here. When you're installing a JDK, you're going to need to set what they call a system-wide variable called Java Home. So you're going to hit new. But in my case, I already have it, so I'm going to just hit edit. You're going to hit Java Home, and you're going to make sure that it points to C, program files, Java, JDK, blah, blah, blah. Point to that folder. The reason why is because when you're doing any type of Java development, Android development, there's lots of different software out there for that, and all of them are going to want a JDK so that they can compile your code, and all of them tend to look for this variable right here. So once you do that, then you need to also make sure you update your path. So we're going to go to path, and then we're going to go to new, and then you're going to put your system variable. That's why you have these percent signs, Java Home. Then once we get that installed, then we have to install Maven. So I'm going to right click this, see what they say. And server not found. So again, this is an out-of-date package. Things have been moved. In this instance, we're going to have to go to the original page. We're going to have to go to download. And these are just minimum requirements, which most people are going to meet. As long as you, this is what I'm saying, as long as you keep your packages up to date, you shouldn't have any problem with any type of minimum requirements that they're going to need from you. Download the binary zip file. Once you download that, you're going to unzip it. And like I said, you're going to have to put it somewhere. I put it in C program files here, Apache Maven, blah, blah, blah. Once you put it there, then you're going to go back here and you're going to do the same thing, environment variables, and you're going to update the path. You can update the system variables if you want to. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't know too many programs that are looking for Maven. But there are lots of programs that are looking for the Java JDK. Update the path directly to point to the Maven. So C, program files, Apache, Maven, 3.6 bin. C, program files, Apache Maven, bin. That's the folder we're pointing to, because this one has all the files that it needs to run, right? Yeah, all these libraries you're going to need for the JDK. Now, before we leave, they have this thing here. We're going to go type in CMD. I like to run as administrator just to make sure I don't get any weird errors when I'm doing this. And it doesn't matter where you are. You type in nvn-v, and they just want to make sure that when you type this in that you get some kind of output. Now this output does not match because they got 3.3, we got 3.6. So, but you just need to make sure you have an output that it sees everything correctly. So Maven Home is here because that's where I put all my files. My Java version that I'm using is 15.02, good. And my Java file location, when it goes to look for it, it's going to look right here, right? So make sure everything's pointing in the right direction. And you got Maven all set up. After this, we're going to spin up an instance of Azure before we go on to step 2, which is going to create our Java application. So see you later.